Welcome back to Scintillae podcast.
Vulnerable and analytical.
That's not the first. Cheaper than therapy.
Vulnerable and analytical.
Two transvians navigating late-stage capitalism. My name is Alicia.
And my name is Raven.
And today we're going to talk about the vulnerable and analytical part, I think, because we're going to share with you part of our experience, hoping to shed some light to tell people who are wondering about what happens when your partner comes out as trans.
And especially what happens if it doesn't necessarily go that well initially and how to work through those issues.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be you just accept and then everything's fine. No, it's complicated. It's like giving birth in a way. It's, there's a big lead up. There's a process. There's doctors involved. There's classes you have to go to. Paperwork.
Diplomas.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because contrary to popular belief, I think, people have the perception that we are couple goals, which we are.
Yes.
That's not to say that has been without bumps in the road.
Lessons to learn.
Lessons to learn. I think it's good to start off saying, and it's noticeable, like I say it everywhere, we've been together 12 years now, almost 12 years, and I still have an insane crush on you. Like, you are the most attractive, the most beautiful thing ever. And like they say that usually, you get to know a person and fall in love with them, and that's, the crush part. And then it evolves, and that's absolutely, I'm sure that that's also part of what we have on the side and on the other levels. But realistically, basically, if I saw you in a club or a bar or wherever, if I went out, I would still think you were the most attractive person in that room, and I would do anything to catch your attention.
But we can role play that.
I mean, not for the public, but yes. So yeah, that's a premise worth bringing, because it's not. I think most of what happened throughout that year, because it was almost a year, so we're gonna I think start with when you came out, and the reactions that I've had, the things that we tried to learn, and the confrontation, the upset, the confusion, and then I think coming 9-10 months in, I had an enlightenment, because very accidentally, but in our life, there's this very interesting mirroring thing that our existence do, even our bodies do, which is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a good point on when the person that you spend all of your time with goes through something, and there's, again, lessons to be learned from that and processes to witness and to observe. It's kind of hard not to apply the lessons to yourself. Like, when new information comes up, you just kind of go, oh, yeah, I suppose, how do I feel about that? I don't think you necessarily would have come around to identifying as non-binary if we hadn't had lots of conversations about, okay, so what does it mean to be a woman then?
Yes, absolutely. But I was thinking more about, well, we're not going to spoil it. Maybe we go into the timeline. But there's definitely having personal health issues that happen to be endocrinological. It was I cracked the code. Suddenly I completely understand your point of view. You do whatever you need to do to be in line with what you need your body and mind to be. And getting that kind of lens on things is what then brought to a solution. Because I feel it's important, because of the things that we're going to talk about, to sort of reassure you that we're here, so there's a good ending.
There is a path.
Yeah, but there is a path that is going to be a bit
challenging.
What's the word? Rocky.
Yeah.
Rocky is the word that I'm looking for. Yes. A rocky road.
But yeah. So starting from the beginning, I've said on the first episode of the podcast that, for me, coming out was one of the things where I had been thinking about it and knowing about it for a long, long time, at least a decade. But I didn't know that I'd been thinking about it, and I didn't know that I knew it. There was, I think the first roadblock was almost 24 hours later, where after I came out, and again, you were incredibly supportive when I did so. You're like, oh my God, no, of course, that's wonderful. Like, yes, absolutely. But then the next day, when it comes to the practicality of it, I've then also been researching and understand how like hormone replacement therapy works, the different kind of surgeries that you can get for that. So I started talking like really excitedly to catch you up, even though I was catching myself up as well at the same time. But then, in doing that, it's like, hang on, whoa.
What does this mean?
Because, it's fair to mention as well that autism, I think, factors in a little way. So the idea of change can be a challenge in itself.
I don't deal well with change. I don't.
And so, talking about the practicalities of it, because I think brought home the idea of like, oh, something's going to be different then.
Yeah.
And what does that difference mean?
Yeah. So I think there's even a further step back. There are like 2 episodes at that point we had been together for 5 years.
Yeah.
So there's 2 episodes that happened in the 5 years before that, where there's just drop things there. One is, I think, like literally the first year that we were together, and you just mentioned how you'd like to have breasts.
Yes.
And I remember actually, that's the crazy thing. I remember, I feel like such a white woman. I remember trying to lecture you about how superficial and disrespectful to trans people that would have been for you just to want to be, a twink, which was essentially what you were, but with boobs.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, how can you say that without understanding, the struggle and this and that? And that was the irony, believe me, is not lost on me.
Which, again, it is a fair thing because like even back in that stage where, I'd had these desires, part of the reason why I never really followed through on them was not being able to understand like what the repercussions are or what is the meaning that comes with that. And what does it mean if I do that? How does it change things? Am I going to be seen in the same way? Am I going to gain something? Am I going to lose something? Am I going to find out something I don't like about myself? So like, it wasn't something to do frivolously, but I was also just, I think at the time, just kind of like, I guess, what do you think about this?
And I remember being very,
fair.
Like completely having been a roadblock in that, because like also, as you then said more recently, it absolutely made sense. Believe me, if I were a man, I wouldn't have tits. So the entire suggestion should have suggested to me, oh, maybe we need to talk about this. Like I should have taken that more open-mindedly in the sense of, oh, maybe you think that you're just saying you'd like boobs, but what does it mean on a larger level? Do we want to talk about that? And instead of going there, I just took it at face value. Oh, you just want it aesthetically. Therefore, how can you not? And
I think that goes to something about the way that we build images of other people in our own minds, like the biography that we write for them. And so even like growing up and throughout my teens and 20s, I was incredibly feminine.
Yeah.
Obviously very, very queer, always wearing makeup, doing things like going around with a feather boa is one thing my mum remembers.
But you got away because you were goth.
There was that as well. But I know that, say, for my mum, the thing that she told me about that was, oh, I just thought you were so comfortable in your masculinity that it didn't matter.
So that's absolute, that's okay. This is the crazy thing. And this is with you, but it's always been a thing with me, which actually says something about me. I have always had a fascination with pretty feminine, androgynous men, especially when they played on it. Brian Molko comes to mind, exactly because in my head was like, look how much he doesn't give a fuck about the imposition of other men. And admittedly, because he looks and does that, he fucks more because of it.
Yeah.
We're going to it in another episode. It's something that I'm researching, but But that was always the idea. Like, oh, you're so comfortable and confident in your masculinity that you don't need the signifiers of masculinity.
Because it's one of the core insecurities in patriarchy.
Yeah.
That like fosters the most violence.
Absolutely.
Like challenging someone's manhood is a dangerous thing to do. And so, someone who blatantly goes like, I really don't give a fuck about that, does
That's hot.
Doesn't necessarily mean that they are safer, but it does at least communicate the idea of like, oh, this is something that's
true coolness.
Yeah.
That's true coolness to me in a man. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I completely understand. I think I have gone myself. Like I was counting 2 things in those 5 years. I forgot probably the most crucial, probably the reason we are together. Like, let's be honest with this. I don't know. If you want, then we cut this. But the thought was, oh yeah, our second date.
Yeah,
our
exactly.
second date, we go home. And I do remember like the kind of discussion that we had, but I knew that you were very comfortable in whoever you were. And I was just like, oh, you know what would be really, really fun if we put you in my clothes.
Yeah.
And so second date, before anything physical had happened between us, I remember undressing you and dressing you in my clothes and like basically doing a photo shoot.
Did really good makeup job.
Yeah. In my very feminine clothes. Like at the time I was also skinnier, so we shared a sort of a size. Like my stuff was a bit big actually on you. But
I was also just very, very skinny.
Oh my God. Like, sorry, it sounds in its own way, it was very hot.
Yeah.
But again, we'll explore that in another context. But yeah, like second date, we're not even intimate between each other, but I put you in my clothes. And there's part of me that in hindsight genuinely goes, oh, is that why we like became our ride or die? Because on the second date, I gave you such gender euphoria.
Yeah, definitely helped. But I think that there is a point of friction that came from that then, which was after I came out, when I did start to then experiment with, I wouldn't necessarily say femininity that much, but I was very much expressing queerness a lot more. So because I got into that like big metallics phase where I was always wearing like silver sparkly tops and the gold sparkly top. Wasn't necessarily going into the like, oh yeah, I want to be seen as a woman. I just wanted to say like, no, this is a signifier of queerness. And I remember one of the things that we kind of had an argument with at one point was like, oh yeah, well that was cool because you were a man.
Absolutely.
But if you're not, then
that's absolutely.
Now you're not doing anything special.
I think it wasn't necessarily the special part, and that has to do probably with how coming out. Then I genuinely think that in a couple it becomes a couple's transition.
Yeah.
It's not just one person, because I think even if you start off being bi, the reason why people are bisexual and live with their bisexuality still does not exclude the possibility that they are different people depending on the gender of their partner. And so I remember a friend telling me, we were talking about you transitioning, and this is a bisexual woman, telling me, oh, but you know, it wasn't it weird for you because when I'm with a girlfriend, I want this kind of girlfriend. This is the kind of woman that I like. But when I'm with a man, this is the kind of man that I like. And so in a way, losing that and having maybe a kind of girl that is not my kind of girl, it still fucks up people that are bi.
Yeah.
So it is a process that needs to be undertaken together with an incredibly big open mind.
Like I'd say that the definition of like bisexual and pansexual that I know I run off of is bisexuality is, you know, more than two genders, anything more than one gender that you're attracted to, but also that you like those genders for the gender that they are. The
gender signifiers, the gender presentation matters, yes.
Yeah, even if it's like, I like my men feminine and my women masculine,
exactly,
that's still a preference within that.
Absolutely.
Whereas with pansexuality is usually an attraction based to something other than gender, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's an interesting one that I was pansexual before I started taking HRT. And then taking HRT, I was like, oh no, now I can kind of see it. Like, yeah, I see what people see in men. I see what people see in women. It just gave me that like slight perception shift on things.
Yeah, I can get that. Actually, that's another thing that I remember someone from Glitter asking me, I think when we were going to Command, and they were just like, oh, can I ask a very personal question? And it's like, because I think this was a trans man that I just started on T, and they were like, how did you work for your wife when they started HRT? Because something that has been shocking me they were heterosexual before, so they always liked women. And starting T, they started to also have attraction to men.
Yeah, happens.
And they were like, oh, you're still together, so clear, like, did it happen to her? And then you worked, like, how did it work? Because to me, it's a very big surprise.
Yeah.
And I think, like, admittedly, like, how did you feel about your, like, how was transitioning affecting, if it was your sexual identity?
Sexuality.
Your sexuality, yeah.
So, yeah, this is kind of the interesting process that comes with this then. And from a lot of the other trans people that I speak to, this tends to ring true, which is that sexuality is very relational. So it's not just about who you like, but it's also about how who you like sees you. So lots of trans women think that they're not gay because the idea of they think that they're not gay before they realize that they're a woman. Because the idea of being with a gay man and being viewed as a man in a gay relationship is uncomfortable for them.
Yeah.
Then when it becomes a case of like, oh, I'm a woman and I might be seen as a woman, then it's like, oh, right, now I can kind of get that. And it was with the occasional guy, and it would generally just be a case of like, yeah, if I'm drunk and someone flirts with me and I like them back, then I had just had like no issue being with guys. But I definitely had an issue with the idea of being in a relationship with a guy. Because I didn't want to be someone's boyfriend like that. Whereas, yeah, with girls, I think there was, I guess because of that affinity that I felt, it was a lot easier to feel closer to them in those kind of things. And the kind of relationship that I would have with women would be very different from the idea that I would have with men. I think I'm still not particularly interested in the idea of being in a relationship with a man. But yeah, I didn't have to think about it as much with women. Yeah. Which again, kind of, you have the societal thing to factor into it then as well, which is, okay, what does it mean to be seen as in a heterosexual or opposite sex relationship compared to a same sex relationship? Yeah. Which I think is something that you struggled with a bit in that. Yeah, there was that, and there was a lot of like personal expectations. Like I remember, so the journey that I had to go through, and admittedly, it's worth mentioning. Like I think for a label that the world understands, I am demisexual. I've always been demisexual, and that's fair. I don't think that I consider myself pan or even bi before you coming out, which in hindsight, it's very funny. Because, having simple discussions about what kind of people I found attractive would have revealed that straight was never exactly my direction. But there's a later realization about that, which is like a lot of the men that you like are fictional, which I think like a lot of asexual people do that. They will fall for fictional men. A lot of lesbians will do that. Because again, it's that the safety. The safety of it being fictional, so you never have to be confronted with the actual reality of it. And so like, there were, even like the guys that you had crushes on, they would be generally kind of almost famous or performers. Yes, it's... I had the same thing. I have crushes on performers. But it was, and they were always feminine men. So that, and in fairness, I do remember, like the first time that I found what I realized was a woman attractive, and it was like it genuinely went to show, gender expression is a spectrum, and I'm interested in the center. Yeah, like it doesn't matter where it comes from. I'm just interested in the center. I think Xander from Queer Love is a very good example of the kind of person that I find attractive. Yeah, I would say there are some women that you think are so beautiful that you gush about, even if you're not admitting to yourself that you find them attractive. But the way that you talk about them sounds like Hannah Fry. Oh my God! But that's the difference. Like, okay, with people like Hannah Fry, the thing that is confusing for me is. I don't know, maybe all the lesbians feel like that though. Do I want her or do I want to be her? And there's a lot of... all lesbians struggle with that. And I do, and there's a lot of these people that is, to me, it's like, oh, what could I do if I looked like her? Like, what would be in my power? Like, there's that fascination. And then in her case, which I actually met Hannah Fry once, which was
bit starstruck because my idea of her is you look so beautiful that you could have just had, and I'm not saying that the life of a model is simple, but you could have just cashed in on the fact that you have won the genetic lottery. And still, you could have had it that, enormous air quotes, easy, and you decided to become a physicist, which is arguably one of the hardest things that you can study for and do.
Mathematician.
So, like, that's the thing.
See, that's where I come from on like the pansexuality. It's like, it's the things that people do.
Yeah. To me, that's so fascinating. Like, you could have had it so much easier. It's not easy, but so much easier. And you decided that being pretty, despite being a cis white woman, and so being pretty really is everything that asks of you of patriarchy, was not enough.
Yeah.
That tells me something about her that probably I then make up and project in my mind, and so I gush a bit about her. That's true. But there's also the thing of, what would I have done if I had that? I can't imagine. I've never had that. So there's a bit of that, absolutely.
But so I think like there is a social construction element to sexualities where, aside from like, your internal feelings about things or how you identify, there's lots of people who, you see this in straight people all the time. There's lots of straight people who are attracted to people of the opposite sex. But if they can never imagine themselves in a relationship with them, never imagine themselves living a life together, can never imagine themselves being seen together, functionally, does it matter? Like, I know we have the patriarchal hierarchy thing of, if you suck one dick, then that's it, you're gay. In which case, having been in an all-boys high school, not many people are straight.
Yeah. No homo, bro.
But, it's the same for all the down low men on Grindr at the Republican convention.
Daddy Trump fucking.
Yeah. They are fulfilling their half of the heterosexual regime, the patriarchal bargain.
Yeah.
They are a husband and they have sired children.
Yeah.
Does it actually matter that they fuck twinks on the weekend?
Yeah, and have these romantic feelings for men? No.
Does it actually mean anything?
No, it's fair.
No.
So actually, that's something that leads into something interesting. So when you came out, and then I had I had personal confusion and doubt because I remember specifically one of these things being, therefore I need to start identifying, or part of me needs to start identifying as a lesbian if we want to stay together. And I remember the thought in my head going, oh my God, do I have to find every woman attractive now? Because I don't and I was just like, oh my God, if I don't find every woman attractive now, am I not going to be a good lesbian? Like in my action, because that's one of the things also, something that I tried to do at the time to learn more directly, because I thought of myself as a very good ally. Like, we went to Pride as a straight couple 2 years before you came out.
Me in full drag.
Yeah. So I considered myself at the very least an ally. But I had no idea how to, when it happens directly into your life and things need to change, and you need to learn actually how to change them and be supportive. So I tried to go and learn. And the place that I did that was the most, by name, supposedly invited for that, which was literally a subreddit, my partner is trans.
Yep.
Now what?
Which I think I might even recommended you to go to.
It's like, okay, so these are other people that are in my positions. These were straight couples that now need to reevaluate their position. And I remember I don't remember exactly what I wrote, but it was bad enough that TERFs tried to recruit me.
Yeah.
And that should have that actually immediately suggested to me of, okay, so whatever I am questioning here about, because I remember one of the things being, how can you have interest towards things? I remember bras being one of that I find oppressive.
Yeah.
And so nobody explained to us that that's, a step of experimentation. Like, I do remember how exciting it was when I was 13, 14, when I got my first bra. It did not occur to me that for you it was the same in your 20s.
This is one of the hardest things that faces newly out trans people is fucking nobody gives you the grace to be a 13-year-old.
Yeah, no,
because it's what you are.
It did not occur to me. And because I was already a sort of grown-up woman, I was like, how can you want to go and experiment with signifiers or femininities that are actually oppressive in my perception. But the point was, I don't know, there's a confusion of you are also a grown-up person. So in my head, it was like, oh, you must understand that. But at the same time, I did not have the understanding. Oh, but these, because that's the thing about puberty. It's not just endocrinological, which you were also going through, or you would have actually afterwards. But it's also social and cultural. It's the time where you experiment with things that you haven't had in interest or been allowed to before. And that was something that I was completely blind to.
Because I think some of the worst makeup looks that I've ever seen are on the beauty, the health and beauty students at CVC. So they're 16-year-olds learning about makeup, and they're in that like completely experimental phase. And it's, harsh contouring, foundation completely mismatched, the like early noughties, thick mascara and stuff. But I was actually kind of going around going, that's amazing.
If you
they're
don't
doing
do
it, they're
it,
experimenting, they're working it out. Do something badly so that you can learn from it.
Yeah.
And as far as like wearing bras under clothes and stuff when I didn't have boobs, I haven't had a life of wearing them to learn. Yeah. Oh no, that is a really uncomfortable thing. And now I know, yes, they are uncomfortable, and I would rather not wear them.
But it is a phase to understand. Like, that's the thing. I think, admittedly, we weren't as much knowledgeable about framework and theory and feminist theory and gender theory as much back then. Like, we were fairly progressive people, but we were very much steeped in our own experience without understanding much of the framework, other than the big words of, oh, there's patriarchy, which means men are put first and like the system is made for them, but not much. Like, the concept of patriarchal bargain wasn't necessarily something that we had acquired at the time. Like, and I think something that is completely fair, like, until or unless you understand the framework a lot, there's no understanding that because we live in a society that has, what's the word I'm looking for? Signifiers for meaning to communicate your identity. We choose our kind of clothes because we want to communicate our uniqueness. Gender is just one of those things where you communicate visually with certain signifiers. At the time, I did not quite have the perception that, of course, a lot of the more you want to go to an extreme of the gender spectrum and being recognized as such, the more you have to play by the rules of patriarchy, because patriarchy decided what a man trademark looks like and what a woman trademark looks like. And so when you don't have necessarily the understanding of that, but you just know that you feel uncomfortable being perceived a certain way, then you try to go to the default. And that's an experimentation that I would dare say it's actually part of what then helped us understand, but why do we want the things we want? Yeah,
especially doing my uni degree because transitioning is quite an all-encompassing thing. When you do it, you think about it every day. Like, I think one of the markers people use for when they feel like they finished their transition is if they can go an entire week without thinking about being trans. When you're in those early stages, it's everything all day. And so when I'm doing my uni course as a photographer and I have to come up with a subject to photograph about, I'm obsessed with myself right now, so I might as well do a self-portrait series that explores all of these questions that I have and the lessons that I'm learning, and trying to understand myself through documentation.
Which led to amazing works of art, by the way.
Part of that was in, I have an idea in my head of what a woman is. Where did I get that from? Yeah. And if it came from somewhere else, then how can it be me? So what is me then? And that goes both ways. Like, it's the ultimate line of thought of the not like the other girls. To think of yourself as not like the other girls means that you have an idea in your head on what you think the other girls are like. I think that was one of the big stumbling blocks within that first year, was like, okay, if I'm going to transition into a woman, what is that then? What does that look like? How is that different from how I am now? Because something has to change. That's the definition of the transition. A change must be happening, but into what? And so then you look to other trans women. That's especially where you kind of get from my partner is trans, is trying to find out like, okay, what have other trans women done then in these relationships? But the big problem with that was none of them were me.
Yeah.
So there was no way of knowing what I would become. You could only use these other examples, and they seem terrifying because I remember a big thing for you was this idea of what I must be then, being completely different from what I am. So the phrase that like absolutely broke my heart was, it's like, what was it? The walking around in someone else's grave? It was like, you've died and someone else is walking around in your body now. And so I can't see you anymore. To which like nothing had changed for me yet.
Yeah.
So I was still feeling like myself. But what had changed for you was that image of me that you impose onto me when you interact.
Yeah. And that was something at the time I didn't know, but I think it was very much pushed to me, and it's absurd because not only came from TERFs, who, of course, I immediately blocked and pushed away. Like at the very least, I knew better. But it also came from the subreddit mods and people there as well. Like, and I did not know at the time the policy of the moderators of that subreddit, and the reason for that subreddit to exist was that the moderators were like, oh, our premise is always we try to break couples up because, there's too much risk that if you stay together, your partner will not allow you to fully transition to the person you want to be. And so our default is we try to break couples up. That was not said in so many words, like until I found like an old post that established this. That was not said in so many words. So it presented itself as a place to support partners, to learn how to be supportive for their transitioning partner. The reality of it is every time that I presented something there, I'm having trouble with this and with that, the answer was always, you should let your partner go. Like you should break up. You should absolutely break up. And then if you find each other again, which in a way, pushing us to that extreme was also sort of helpful, because I think at some point we literally had to have the discussion of, are we going to break up? And from both of our perspectives, it was like, oh, I cannot do this to you. Like, I love you too much to hold you back. And we both were feeling that way. And the moment that we understood, so we care enough for each other that we would sacrifice ourselves to let the other go. But like, there's something like, I don't think that this is how it works then. Like, if we care so much, then we can find a way to be together that is not just sacrificing ourselves to let you go because you can have better. What is better at that point than someone that is ready to give up everything for you? That helped in its own way. It wasn't meant to, but it did. Yeah,
like, because every time we've ever gone to a couples therapist about anything, the thing that they're always surprised about is like, oh, you actually want to be together.
What do people that go to couples therapy want to do?
I think generally, I don't think many people go into couples therapy, I guess, from what we can tell, with the actual intention of that's not their necessary motivation. Like, the motivation is they want to fix things, they want things to be better, but they don't necessarily have that drive of like, no, this is where we want to get to. We just need some help to get there, because like we're all out of ideas.
But why do they want things to get better if they don't have this like, that's the thing.
Like, people don't want to lose their life. People don't want to give up futures. Because that's a big thing as well, is you don't only build an image of yourself that you put onto other people. You don't just project, but you also imagine a future together. And so like part of a transition is like, oh, that future's gone.
I guess. I mean, I think it's worth then going into the point of, I did not realize at the time, but there was a societal pressure that I clearly had the perception vaguely of, but could not name. Mm-hmm. And I remember one of the things being, oh, if you're a woman, then I need to change my perspective on how not only we relate to each other, but, I guess I came from a very, and I say it, I came from a very patriarchal way to see things, in the sense of, despite, the rebellion of, you've always looked like a queer man before anyway, the idea was always unconsciously, well, I come from multiple marginalizations, and I live in a country that is predominantly white, and, I am fat. At the time I didn't know, but I was neurodivergent and all of that. So in a way, there was, I don't know if it can be called like social climbing, but there was an implicit, oh, I live in your country, you belong here, I don't. Being with you, I will have someone that guarantees for me in a way, somebody can protect me because they listen to you, they don't listen to me. So when you came out, one of the things was like, not only, oh, that's no longer there, so I need to readjust my relationship with this country because there's sort of a protection that is taken away. But on top of it, knowing the position that trans women occupy in the world, I was like, oh, do I have the instruments, the knowledge to start protecting you?
And if you're protecting me, who's protecting you?
Yeah, essentially. And so that was...
which the answer is, we protect each other.
Yes.
But it takes a while to feel that safety because even when you... it's one of those things that it sits in your head without you even thinking about the practicalities of it.
Absolutely.
It's just this idea because everything on TV, everything in film, everything in literature.
It's so pervasive.
It's implicit in all of that. So it just kind of, it goes in. It's one of those just social ideas that you have around the world. But then it comes to like, okay, so do you want me to punch men for you? Right? Is that where we're going with this?
No, I think, it's epistemic authority as well. Yeah. So there's, which realistically then, having come into, how long, like 7 years of your transition or something like that, realistically, there's a lot of that you have just retained because you're you. And, people might have a prejudice now on that side, but there's also parts of you that I don't think they consciously realize they still, because of what you say and because it's valid and because you've never lost that kind of coolness in your voice. Yeah,
I can mask the I know what I'm talking about.
Very well, that's the...
Because, everything just goes... So this is like one of the things that people always talk about, the importance of knowing someone's assigned sex at birth. And the argument that always gets brought up about that is like, a doctor needs to know, because what if they give you a drug that kills all men?
Which one is that? Where do we get that? What can we...
that's the idea, right? It's like, certain things have different risks and you need to know that. Like, I have never walked into like a doctor that doesn't know me and had them judge anything other than based on how they perceive me.
Yeah.
Which causes more problems because on an estrogen dominant endocrine system, my risk profiles have shifted.
Yes.
But as far as like when it comes to interacting with people are just subconsciously going off of the signifiers that you give. And I can put on signifiers for femininity if I want to. But there's a point where when it comes to doctors, like if I just talk to them on an equal footing, then they take that. They just kind of go, oh yeah.
Mm. No, it's it was something that, again, because we weren't as immersed as we are now. Like I think that if, in a way, of course, if you had come out now, things would go differently and much smoother because we have done the work and the research. I don't think we would have done the work and the research if we hadn't been personally impacted by, oh, okay, now we learn how trans people navigate life because it's happening to us. Mm-hmm. So there is just so much, with all due respect, that allies can do and understand, which is a part of the reason why that I guess we say to be a good ally, the first thing is that you need to just believe what people that have the experience tell you. And then you learn about the framework because there are tokens everywhere. But that's why it's important to, you don't necessarily have to understand it, you just have to believe it. And then maybe you get to understanding. Yeah. In our case, then, there was a lot of this conflict because of the gender roles. Yeah. And so, like, oh, I thought I had a husband. Society thinks that I am married and therefore I have a husband. Like, what?
I mean, it's the biggest thing that I hear from, it comes up on Reddit a lot, where like, even if the partner is bisexual,
oh yeah,
the wife might say like, oh, but I married a man, I couldn't be married to a woman. And so I was like, rewind that a little bit.
Yeah.
Isolate that feeling.
Yeah.
And like, that's the kind of thing you can go to therapy for.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, what does that actually practically mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like we talked about it in the old video essay for one of like the fat phobia ones of lots and lots of guys are attracted to fat women, but very few are willing to be seen in public with a fat woman, because who you're with gives you social standing to other people. I think quite a lot of straight people base their relationships on how it affects their social standing, and like that's the real driving force.
Yeah.
And like when it comes to doing couples therapy, it's like, well, I don't want to lose my social standing, but this person is a cunt.
No, see, I did not see that. I think that my autism did affect my ways to be attracted to people. And yeah, for you, it was my own standard of attraction is very clearly heavily influenced by Italian culture. Because that's something that you were surprised about. And I was like, I know exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. You go to Italy and people are going to turn around looking at you. I don't know why, with the fact that like the classic Italian man is dark, tanned and hairy. I don't know, therefore, why they sold girls, millennial girls, the androgynous man. But they did that. Yeah. And I know that for a fact, because again, we go to Italy, people turn around to look at you, think you're a model. Most of my Italian friends like were jaw to the floor when they saw you. Oh my God, your eyes are so blue. Because I knew exactly, like by cultural reference, what I had begged. And I was like, doesn't make sense. I know, it doesn't make sense. And I do appreciate that here is not necessarily like that. To me, it does feel like that though. And I think part of that attraction of, and you're so cool that you don't have to reinforce your masculinity. If anything, you can play with it. But it still means, again, to society that I have a husband. What does it mean if I don't? And then personally, I do come from trauma from cis women. And so there was this like pull and push of, can I think of a woman in romantic and sexual terms? Just thinking about my previous experiences with women, which is also a bad thing, because like the same way that you shouldn't put the experiences of previous partners on your current partner shoulders because, you had bad experiences with other, they are a different person. So I do appreciate that we go to categories even of like, what's my relationship with women before? And we therefore forget, but this is a different person. Exactly like you were saying before, like these are other trans women that having this experience. Is not me. It doesn't come from my experience.
I think also as well, like recognizing that you have a trauma is an invitation to yourself to work out how to heal from it, because it's better to heal from a trauma than to not.
Absolutely.
And like, you can make the point of like, I'm still in the process of this and it's still very difficult for me. And that's not something I'm able to do right now. But, and it's not to say to force you to do the things that are triggering and traumatic for you, but it's kind of this is a thing that I have about me. Right. I should do something about that, because it's better to do it than to not do it. Because
otherwise just, it's one of those things that is wielded as a weapon in progressive circles of, I need to do nothing about myself. Like I've just decided that you're hurting me. And so it's the infamous thing about boundaries, and your boundaries begin and end with your body and your own space. And your boundary cannot be, I forbid you to be here. Because your boundary then in that case is, well, if I can't be comfortable being around you, I will not be there.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't impose that on other people, because otherwise it's not a boundary. You're just excluding them.
Yeah.
And
like the other side of that is you want to be as inclusive as possible, because being inclusive is nice and you get to meet more people.
Exactly.
So like, you can make things, but when it comes to competing access needs, which can sometimes be the case, then it's a case of like, you can't force anyone else to follow your ex's needs because they're competing. You can't do both at the same time.
Yeah.
So things do have to be worked out and explored. Oh yeah, and I think on that point of the trying to imagine being sexual with a woman, there is a difference, especially if you are demisexual. There is a difference in trying to imagine being in a sexual scenario with an imaginary woman who you haven't gotten to know and built a relationship with than with the person who you are currently in love with.
Yeah,
Which, yeah, again, it's one of those things of like, okay, if things are going to be different, cool, let's explore. Like,
yes.
I think that's always healthy in a relationship to do, is to explore new things and discover things about each other. And you can absolutely, I think at any point, if you'd said, actually, no, this isn't for me, I would have been like, okay, that's a shame, but that's fair. I respect that.
That's the thing though, like it was just the concept of being with a woman rather. Is there any act? Is there anything? And again, I do blame society a lot on that. It's not that like I'm putting my fault and I'm like, absolving myself and putting the fault on society, because still I was the one that then became the conduit for society's belief to go through me and then making all this fuss fundamentally. Because I was like, oh, but this is not what I've seen. Yeah. So if it's not what I've seen, I cannot imagine it. And so, no, I'm uncomfortable. Without necessarily digging as to why I was uncomfortable, why as society that was wrong, and all those kind of things. And again, unfortunately, the places where I was in, as the solution just gave me, then you should leave.
Yeah.
And having gone very close to consider that,
It's the idea that those are the only two options. Like either you completely accept everything, even if it makes you feel very uncomfortable, or if it makes you uncomfortable, then to just leave. And there's a missing part of that, which is to like have conversations.
Yeah.
Practice like radical empathy and just understanding what it means from the other side. Because again, it might not match the idea that you have. And even in that case, then it's a point of like, then I think the challenge is to listen to what the other person says. Because I think there's maybe a few things that came up where I was like, well, no, it's not like that for me. And then you were just kind of, well, then why are you doing anything? Like, why is it different? Like if everything is the same, why are you changing? Was a big thing on that. Which I think like for HRT was a bit of a roadblock for us. Cause you'd seen stories of people changing their sexuality, changing their personality, becoming kind of moody and abrasive, and as well as like the body changes as being something that like might be something you couldn't handle. And obviously it's something that's like very important to me, but it wasn't the idea of you had in your head of what it meant wasn't what it meant to me. Like for me, it was like, no, I'm still going to be the same person. But then if you're still going to be the same person, then why are you changing, right? I get that that's...
it can get into a mind loop there.
Because the other side from it that you can kind of take is that I'm becoming who I already was. Yeah.
Which admittedly then it's why I needed a lens to understand. And unfortunately, I imagine that it's an autism thing. I don't have the ability of just putting myself in other people's shoes. But the moment that I understand what are my shoes to put them in for understanding, then it works. And to me, personally, was at the same time, I was going through a lot of body issues, body dysmorphia, and my body was completely out of control. Yeah. It wasn't answering in the way that bodies should answer to certain things. And it turns out that it was a mix issue of sex hormones and thyroid hormones. And so once we identified that, then I started to fight with every doctor and everyone to actually get an endocrinologist to see me.
So you could take something that would get your body to align with the way that you view yourself.
Prescribed me medicine, prescribed me literally hormone replacement therapy. Yeah. And that made it click.
Yeah, because for my side is like I'd stayed androgynous through my teens and through my early 20s, which it didn't present the problem to me.
Yeah.
There was like a desire that I recognized I wanted in femininity, in womanhood, but I didn't have any issue with myself. And then as I started to age and like my hairline started receding and I started to see like the older members of my family like, oh, I'm turning into that, then you can go that same way of recognizing like, it's not that I was a man that has decided to change into a woman. It's that I'm a woman who has an endocrine disorder.
Yeah.
Where my body produces testosterone when it should have produced estrogen.
Yeah.
And that's affecting my body in ways that don't match the way that I view myself. And if I correct the hormone imbalance in me, then I can become more in line with myself. And I was like, yeah, from those two, that's where we have matching perspectives and we can meet there and understand each other. And if we understand each other, then we can trust each other.
Yeah, no, the moment that clicked in my head, which I understand, it was lucky in its unluckiness, but it made it click. And I think that was, because like for a year or something, well, those 8-9 months, I was just like, oh, but like, do you have to go on HRT? Can you do all of this? Like, can you give me time for this and that and that? And then that clicked and I was like, no, you go and do anything you need to do. You need to take, shall we go private? Because suddenly I completely understood and could draw a clear parallel between what you were going through and what I was going through. And I completely understood the pain. Like I could associate it to the pain that I was going through.
It's like, oh, these things that happen to me don't feel like me. They feel...
Yeah. Like that person in the mirror shouldn't look like that.
Yeah.
And if there's something that needs to be done about it, we need help.
Because on the basis of I married a man, I couldn't be married to a woman. It's like, hey, guess what? Actually, you've been married to a woman.
Yeah.
So now what? Because
no, again, that is always a societal thing. And admittedly, it's something that I've seen. Like I remember this awful interaction that I had with an Uber driver because I don't know, I dropped the line of, oh yeah, I'm just gonna spend the evening with my wife. Like I don't have plans. And this man, I don't know if I was the first queer person that he ever spoke to and spent the rest of the entire journey clearly fascinated and titillated by the idea of two girls together. But at the same time, how could that be a thing? Like it wasn't necessarily, I don't know, is it a hate crime? I don't know. It was very bizarre. Like it was the first open
not a hate crime, no,
homophobia against me that I experienced because this person was so uncomfortable yet titillated by the idea, because this was a man, of course, of two women together, but how can she be your wife? How can you really have sex together? Like that kind of thing. And I was just like, we're not gonna go into this. But I think that was the kind of thing that when you sign up to patriarchy's contract, you're like, oh, okay, I'm doing all of these things so that I am not subject to all the discrimination that you do to everyone else, which therefore implies, oh, you're okay that it happens to someone else? Which, fair enough, like I tried very hard to be a good ally before, and I realized through that experience that there was more work to do.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing, essentially, like when you are bargaining with society and wanting to be seen by society as the standard on, one of the wheels of privilege, admittedly, which is one of them is heterosexually married. And you want to get again, the point of privilege sometimes is not that you get something, is that you don't get harassed.
Yes.
And that was the thing, like that was accepting, oh, with all the beatings that I've already taken in life, basically, now we have to handle this. So I think that was the core basis to which then I created all these side problems, which were just manifestation of that, and was like, oh, what about protection? Oh, what about explaining to people? Well, how about being seen as with a woman rather than with a man?
Like the question of who wears the trousers in the relationship. Like, well, actually, we share each other's.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a point that I wanted to talk about with compromise, because compromise is seen as such a bad thing in transition. You as a transitioning person cannot compromise anything of what you want to do because it's your identity. And the partner cannot compromise on their identity and their sexual identity, which is basically the fulcrum of why they tell you the only solution is to split up. Mm-hmm. I say fuck that. Yep. Like, I think that we have learned to compromise extremely well. And I think that one of the things that fucks the perception up of compromise is the line between compromise and changing the rules of, the fundamental relationship. So we are in a monogamous relationship, despite how progressive we are and everything. I think we are the only people that we know that are not poly, which I think is
Maybe not the only, but yeah, close to.
Yeah, I can't think of the top of my head of someone that we know in person that is monogamous.
I mean, yeah, not without just randomly naming people and then we get into a conversation.
No, but no, I don't think so. Not because we have anything against it. It's just, you are poly if that works better for you. For us, it works like this. Like there's nothing else. There's no one else. Like there's no point.
Yeah, we don't spend any time apart really. So the idea of choosing to spend time with someone else other than each other is
it's I joke.
That's the crux of it.
Yeah. I joke, but it's quite serious. Like, if I want to give labels that the outside world understand, I'm demisexual and I'm pan-romantic, but realistically, I'm raven sexual and raven romantic. That's how it works for me, and that's it. That is one of the fundamentals of our relationship. We are with each other and not with anybody else. So being with anyone else would constitute cheating, or there's the point of, well, if you want to be with someone else, you need to break up with me. That's, the corollary of the rule of monogamy. And something that it's part of what I was worried about. I was like, oh, what if you take HRT and then you start being attracted to men, you start wanting to be with men, what happens there? And that was a lot of anxiety. And it was also like, I think part of the reason why like that person then asked me, and I was like, oh, I hear that that's a thing. That's fair. And I think it was made clear immediately, like you could have attraction, but you would not act upon it because we are together. We are committed to each other. We want to be together. We're not stuck together. We want to be together. And there was a choice to be made, essentially.
Like, if you're a newly out trans woman that's in a relationship and deciding of like, oh, but I really want to have, I want to have the experience of being with a man as a woman. You can want that, but then that is a choice. Yeah. That's not something that has to happen. It's not part of...
And it's not a pass to cheat, like simple as... and it would work the other way around as well. Like, say you transition and then, you've transitioned now for like 5 or 6 years. I miss being with a man. And so I go out and I, have a one-night stand or something like that. If that is cheating, which it is, so is the other way around. Yeah. So acting upon that is a choice, and it's not the idea of, then you're forbidding me to find my own self. Do you need to find yourself on someone else's cock? Really? Like, is that... No, I don't know. To me, cheating is such a line in the sand.
I think, it's just a point about take ownership for your choices. If you want to do that more than staying with your partner, or if you want to have that experience more than you want to respect your partner's boundaries, you can make that choice. Those choices have consequences. Absolutely. Every single choice has a consequence.
I think the issue is, again, we also happened to have been put in front of all of their choices, and at the end of those always coming down saying, no, I would choose you first. Yeah. Like, to me, you're more important than all of this.
Even when it comes to any of the compromises that we made about like, okay, well, I think, there's a part about if you want more time with something, you kind of have to give that time frame. So I was like, okay, can you give me, we kind of learned that with the thing where when I'm upset, I need space.
Yes.
Is the thing that I then need to do if I need space is to say, I'm going to be gone for 2 hours. Yeah. And at the end of the 2 hours, I'll come back. Yeah. Because you need to know that I'm going to come back. Yeah. And so with that, like, we, when we had the discussion about HRT, I'm like, I'm not sure I'm ready for other things. Like, we need to discuss this. We need to work this out together. I set the thing of like, okay, well, if I go for the Welsh Gender Service and I put the request in for that, that's going to take 2 years. So there's that 2 year time frame. This is how long we got to, and I think, we worked it out in like 9 months, maybe about a year. And I still waited for that.
Well, what did we do? I think you came out at the beginning of 2019. In March of 2019, you went to the GP. Like, it was like 3 months. Yeah,
I went to there because it was like, right, there's 2 years waiting list. Yeah. Okay, we've got this waiting list to work things out with each other, go to therapy. Yeah. And then, you gave me the thing of like, oh, no, absolutely just do it as soon as you want. But then I hadn't necessarily come to terms with everything about that. It wasn't until I turned 30 and I went, oh, no, I'm not doing another decade. I'm not going through this decade without it. Like immediately ordered it. But when you're making those things, it's set a time frame if that's something that you are going to do together. And the other thing is, how do you know that you're not then being controlled or abused or like overly held back from things? Is, do you trust the other person to have your best interests at heart?
Yes, that goes down.
And if you don't, that's another issue.
That's yes.
So that's
the thing. I never had all the things and all the worries that other people try to come at me with. I was just like, oh, but that's not Raven. Yeah. That's not what they do. That's not what they would do to me. Like, I have a hard time understanding what couples are, admittedly, especially after that experience, because I'm just like, well, if your partner would do that to you, that's not a transition issue. That's just, why would you let someone do that to you?
Yeah, there's again, the language that's used in like online trans communities that you turn to, I think can be very confusing and lead you down the wrong path in a lot of ways. There's so much of it that is rigid and there is nuance to it, as long as you have faith and you believe that the person that you're being nuanced with wants the best for you. Yeah. And you want the best for them. Yeah. And so then it's a case of like, okay, if we both want that, then what's the best for each other, for us together? And that's always the thing that we did through everything, was like, well, we want to stay together. We want to spend the rest of our lives together. We just need to work out what that looks like. Yes. I suppose a good thing then to wrap this up is, I've now been, so I was out for 2 years and then medically transitioning for 5 years. Is me as a trans woman now what you expected during that difficult phase?
No. Yeah. No, like that's the thing. Like, it's the point of, unfortunately, I'll go back to that. Unfortunately, because of the societal idea of gender is a binary, not a spectrum. Or even if it's a spectrum, you have the extremes of a manly man and a feminine woman. And I think actually that as a trans person, I don't know if it's within yourself or it's within the community. I imagine that to that degree, especially at the beginning, there is this thing of, I have to prove to myself and to others that I'm really trans. Yeah. And so that requires, a ricochet effect against the entirety of your life that goes to 110%.
Yeah, like I had my phase when I switched uni campuses, because I was doing a foundation course at a college campus. And then the final year I went to an actual university campus. And I'd been on HRT for 6 months at that point. So I was like, here's the opportunity to do the thing. Yeah. I'll go full time. I'll dress femininely every day. I'll wear makeup every day. I'll get my hair in straight cut bangs because I've always wanted to do that.
You can wear bangs.
Yeah. And then it's like everyone I introduced myself to is going to know me as Raven then instead of who I was before. There's none of that like transfer over. And I think I did that for about 4 months. And I was like, this is tiring.
No, yes, I think, unfortunately, societally, we're still at a place where even transitioning, unless you really go for gender punk, because you've understood the framework of patriarchy and you decide openly to go against patriarchy, not to go against your assigned gender at birth. Those are two different fights. I think the most average, the most normal way to think of transitioning is simply you fight your assigned gender at birth to go to the opposite. Yeah. And without necessarily considering the framework of patriarchy, because it's your life. I actually get it. Like, as I always say, like the important thing at the end of the day is that you do you the way that it's safe to get out of the door. So framework and everything counts to make you understand where you stand. But at the end of the day, you do what makes you feel comfortable. It is partially limiting in the sense that then I think, unfortunately, because of society, transition still lives under the framework of patriarchy. And patriarchy has a very clear idea of what a man needs to look like to be a man and what a woman needs to look like to be a woman.
Yeah, it's a constant negotiation. Like this is the stuff that we talk about in private Discord servers, and not necessarily, you don't necessarily hear a lot of this from like trans creators when they talk about being trans. But yeah, it is a constant negotiation that you have to have between yourself and the world outside, which is at some point you will likely find like where your sweet spot is on like, this is what I need to do to feel right in myself.
Yeah.
And then you'll go outside and you won't be treated that way. So you need to work out like, hey, how much more than me am I going to put on so that at least other people see me the way that I want to be seen? And am I willing to kind of like look in the mirror and not see me in kind of the opposite direction than from where it was before and go too far just so that I get addressed in the right way every day?
Yeah.
I've decided that that's not worth it for me, although trans women decide that it is worth it for them. But like, yeah, every single hyper-femme trans woman I know doesn't do it. None of them do it because they're like, oh no, this is just who I am. They do it because this is how I get treated.
Yeah.
The safest, the best. And yeah, I'm too lazy. I can't be bothered. And I can go too far and I can be like, I'm now becoming inauthentic. And I don't like this inauthenticity. And so there's a level of like misgendering that I accept from strangers just because, on balance between them is like, this is the most comfortable place to be in.
I think,
and as you know, even beyond that, like as my body has changed, so now I am much more comfortable with my body as it is, then I'm like, actually, do I even care if some random person in a bar calls me mate? No, honestly, I don't, because I can now look at myself in the mirror and go, fuck yeah.
Which is honestly the kind of relationship that everybody should hope to have with their own body. I think that it might not be the next episode because there's still reflection to be done. But you were saying that and I was like, that sounds an awful lot like the relationship that I had to do with the prejudice and expectation that people, especially in Italy, that has a very clear idea, Italy, about what does it mean to be fat? What are the personality traits and moral values put on someone that is fat? What are the implications? What are the things that you're making inference for someone that looks fat? None of those are good, as you can imagine. And Italy is very, very serious about that. Yeah. And I was like, oh no, I get that. And I think the difference between, worrying about how you're going to be seen outside, and I think the Ozempic epidemic shows something about that, something about the real reason why people do this.
How funny. There's a medication that you can take that makes people treat you better.
I know, right?
What's that like?
I know, right? So, yeah, I think the trans fat discourse that we wanted to do for a long time will need to come. Going back to like close up and are you what I expected when we first talked about transitioning? And the reality is that no, because of the idea that patriarchy gave me a women.
Yep.
Like, which includes not only the extreme femininity and the extreme fragility, and therefore, do I need to be then the person that finds a way to make us both safe to be in charge? And then again, that comes from the way that I've had to adapt with parents not being able to protect me and being parents, so having to become my own parent, which is work. So I've tried to patch my personality together like this. How do I need to adapt it to the concept of womanhood that patriarchy has given me, which when you told me I'm going to transition was the only reference of femmehood that I had. So no, absolutely not. Probably also because the vision, realistically, that patriarchy gives us, even of the positives of womanhood, at the end of the day, are misogynistic. And the idea of, a woman being Katy Perry, like I heard those things, which then in hindsight, it's very obviously TERFs that go on Reddit and make up stories about, my partner did this. And because
to be fair, some trans women do become catty because that's what women do.
Okay, but, it might be, but I genuinely remember at the beginning starting to notice this trend of accounts that don't have history and just go there and are these jilted wives telling you all the despicable things that their trans wives do as if they are...
Be all and end all of trans.
Yeah, the mean girls. Suddenly their wife is also their mean girl, their bully. And I'm just like, that doesn't quite make sense. And then you go and see that the account indeed is empty. And these are just, the fantasies that TERFs, like the vision that TERFs have of trans women, that I think is a lot of projection.
A lot.
Just saying. Because, personally, that's the thing, when you have to then start to realize where the position is within the framework and realizing, I don't have to be that, or that doesn't have to be the case. There are options B, C, D. It's not just A and B. And when you start to realize that, I think it's also the point of, you go out, and when you have to deal with just society is bad. It's bad to women, it's bad to trans people, it's bad to fat people, it's bad to disabled people. And that's why then you go and find and build your own community with people that share those traits and values. And now I can never think of going to an event and someone will snicker at me because I'm fat, or will snicker at you because you're trans. Like, we are friends with fat and trans people. And so that's not one of the things that gets brought into question. But in larger society, on average, it is. So that's the main thing. Like, the only reference that I had was the vision of womanhood that was patriarchy. And I was like, I'm not going to deal with that. Like, that's why, as a woman, you're told to not be like the other girls, because the vision that patriarchy has of women is bad, is misogynistic, is the price that men get to have a wife, to brood children. Like, it's bad. It's bad. That's why we think, oh, no, you need to be not like the other girls. But the other girls are just the vision of patriarchy of girls. Yeah. So no, you're nothing like that. And I don't think that most women are, realistically.
Exactly, yeah.
That's the thing that I have learned through that.
Like, a common thing for cis women and not understanding trans women is like, oh, how do you know what it feels like to be a woman? I just feel like me. And it's like, we just feel like that. But the difference is in that society is projecting, again, this idea of manhood onto me, what it expects me to be and what it expects me to do. And I've gone, absolutely not. Fuck that. That sounds horrible. No, I refuse to do that.
And also, I have boobs to grab on now.
I mean, unlike the body changes is, hey, funnily enough, it's really attractive when someone's comfortable in their skin.
Yeah. I mean, you've always been attractive to me. Like, that's also the thing. Like, I could not imagine when everybody was suggesting that, if you're actually straight, you could never deal with that. And I'm just like, by all means, maybe it says something that absolutely I wasn't straight, but I was just like, it's the same person. Like, here's the thing that I remember telling myself, and I think it's a good point to close on. Having all this discussion and all these considerations and all of this, if I really am straight and if I really wanted to be with you in your guy version, then what I need to do is to let you go. And the idea was, I need to break up with you, whom I've been with for 5 years, who I've known for 5 years. And the more I knew you, the more I loved you, the more I found you attractive, the more I want to be with you. And I need to leave you because some things are going to change, despite what I know already is there, and that's you. That's not going to change. There's going to be differences, but that's not going to change, and that's what I love. And I need to leave that for an hypothetical shape of a man that I will need to find and date.
And hope he doesn't kill you.
Yeah, because the concept of heterosexuality is more important than the 5 years that I've known and grown to love this person. That shapeless figure of an hypothetical man was going to be what I needed to want more than I wanted, and I grew to want you for 5 years. If that is not the most absurd thing that makes you go and say, oh, fuck this, like, fuck the labels, fuck everything. I know this person. I love this person. We all change. We age. Like, that was so absurd, that idea that I needed to break up with you because of this. If you are heterosexual, then you need to be waiting on for this man. And I was like, well, I don't want a man. I want this person.
And it was one of the things I said to you as well, is like, honestly, at the end of the day, I would rather be completely uncomfortable and hate myself and be with you for the rest of my life. but I can't understand why you would want me to be uncomfortable and hate myself.
Yeah.
So that's the bit where we're going together.
Yeah, it is. It just is.
I actually think that turned out happier than I thought it would be.
What do you mean?
I was saying like, because we are so happy now working together, it's like, we can just kind of laugh about the difficult things.
I mean, yeah,
also the lesson through it is the more important bit. So yeah,
I think it's the best thing that one can hope for. Like when there are those moments, because I remember very little, because when things are that level of upsetting, my brain is just very good at dissociating and just like, bad things happen, but let's just remember the good ones. So if I have to go back and dig, I will like remember like the arguments and the conversation and all of that. But it's really, really, that's just to say it was really bad. Like it's not to, brush it off as, oh no, because we are so amazing together and we are couple goals, it actually wasn't that hard. Oh no, it was fucking hard. It's just nice to see that it is then. If you focus on what actually is best for each other, it is the kind of thing that you look back onto and I don't know if laugh, but you can smile about and go like, it went well though.
Yeah.
It ended up well, and that's what matters.
Because we had tried everything that we thought of and couldn't get past it. We went to therapy with the thing of like, hey, we're out of ideas. Do you have any? And she didn't. And then it's just a case of like, well, we still want to be together. So then through being together and just living life together, then things happen.
Yeah.
And every time something new happens, it offers you a new perspective. And hey, maybe that new perspective is the thing that you need to get over it. Yeah.
It's just very hard to break out of the framework because we all live in it.
Just trust and love and trust.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, that was a mouthful. Yeah, we don't have set ideas for the next episode, but we're gonna have a guest.
Yes.
We're gonna have a guest. We're gonna have our first guest, and we're gonna go straight on for politicians. Why fuss around? Let's go serious business. So until the next episode, I really hope that we can hack the patriarchy together.
Because there's need for it.